is Bean to Barstool, a podcast that looks at the intersections of craft beer and craft chocolate. My name is David Nilsen. I'm a professional beer writer and an advanced cicerone, and the creator and host of this show. The music for this episode is by my dear friend, indie folk musician Anna P.S. You can find out more about Anna's music in the show notes or at her website, annapsmusic.com. You can find links and information about our guests in the show notes as well. I hope you enjoy this episode of Bean to Barstool. Sour ales are a fantastic platform for fruit flavors. The acidity of the base beers dovetails with the brightness of the fruit and can help sell the flavors of fruit more authentically. In some cases, if a sweeter fruit addition is added, that tartness and sweetness can contrast nicely. A wide range of sour beer styles are brewed with fruit additions, ranging from simpler styles like Gose and Berliner Weiss to longer-aged, more complex styles like Kriek Lambic. The sheer variety of expressions can lead to challenges when offering pairing advice with craft chocolate. For example, some fruited sour ales lean heavily on their fruit additions, while some use the fruit only as a subtle accent to the character of the base beer. Bodies can range from full and sweet to light and dry. ABVs can be anywhere from around 4% to 8 or 9%. Let's break down some of the different common formats for fruited sour ales and discuss how to pair each with craft chocolate. We'll start with fruited quick sours. The German sour ale styles Gose and Berliner Weiss were mostly unknown in the US until the early 2010s, when suddenly they were all the rage. These specific historical styles have mostly receded into the shadows once more, but their basic format, quickly produced low to average ABV sours with simple, bright acidity, provides an easy foundation for a wide range of fruit additions. In many Central and South American countries, beers of this type are being brewed with local fruits. Catarina Sour in Brazil is an example. Quick sours are relatively easy for the brewery to produce and easy for the consumer to understand and enjoy. The challenges when pairing with these quicker fruited sours come down less to finding the right bar for a specific beer as they do recognizing the beer you're working with in the first place. There is a ton of variety in this category. Some beers are quite sweet, some are quite dry. Levels of fruit range from bold to subtle, and acidity can vary from puckering to subtly tart. Anytime you're working with fruit, our brains can distort our perceptions of sweetness and acidity based on what our brains have come to associate with the flavors of various fruits. All of this means we need to understand the beer we're tasting in order to dial in the chocolate pairing. Make sure you taste the beer first and understand it. For drier examples, seek out a dark bar made with chilies. This will really pop against the fruit and acidity of the beer. For sweeter, creamier beers, direct harmony is better, with milk to low percentage dark bars made with a complementary fruit, providing easy companions. Some mild earthy spice can round out the pairing. With the right beers, bars with smoke or herbal inclusions can harmonize nicely. It's unlikely that this is going to be a place for single origin bars. High percentage bars will rarely work unless they have fruit inclusions and you're working with a drier beer. For drier beers, avoid any milky or creamy bars. Urban Artifact in Cincinnati brews exclusively fruited sour ales, and their teak tropical fruit tart is brewed with pineapple, pink guava, and key limes. Checaset's Mashop Smoke is a 65% dark milk bar made with elderberry, oat milk, and smoked Lapsang Souchong tea. The bar brings wood smoke, tea leaves, and soft berry that blanket over the pops of vibrant tropical fruit and tartness in teak. Contrasting berry and lime guava flit over a foggy bank of driftwood campfire smoke, the acidity tempered by the smoke and cream. The savory and weathered meets the bright and fresh in this pairing. One quick note on smoothie or milkshake sours. These beers combine assertive fruit with vanilla and lactose to turn a quick sour ale into a fruity dessert. These beers sometimes get dunked on, but they can be delicious when made well. They have the sweetness and body to reach out to a wide range of chocolates, but they can do surprisingly well with bars that have earthy or savory inclusions with subtly sweet leanings, beets, smoke, mushrooms, etc. Now let's look at long-aged fruit sours. While the quick sours above can be produced in a short period of time and generally have a pretty simple, clean sourness, long-aged sours can take months or years to produce and often have greater fermentation complexity. The Belgian Lambic family, as well as Flanders Reds and Oud Bruins, provide the foundation for a range of American-produced beers that spend time in barrels and slowly develop character. Many of these examples are brewed with fruit. The complexity and unusual flavors of these beers offer pairing opportunities few other styles provide, but they can be tricky. The bold sourness of many of these beers can clash with many chocolates, and the very dry bodies will not support sweeter flavors on the chocolate side, and might even amplify the astringency of some higher percentage bars. These beers offer some of the only pairing options for bars with mushrooms or earthy herb inclusions. Dark bars with dehydrated fruit inclusions are also pleasant. These beers can also handle more fruity, acidic single origins. With the rare sweeter examples of these long-aged sours, chili chocolates can fit well. You're going to want to avoid chocolatey single origin bars, anything creamy or milky, and bars with spice inclusions. Jolly Pumpkin La Roja de Creek from Michigan is a cherry-infused version of their classic La Roja, their interpretation of a Flanders Red Ale. This is a blended sour ale made with cherries, and it balances tart cherry Jolly Rancher flavors with a touch of oak, a hint of juicy fruit gum-like spice, and a moderately dry finish. Amade Toscano Red is a 70% dark chocolate made with dried cherries, strawberries, and raspberries. Together, the fruity acidity of the beer seems to breathe new life into the bar's fruit inclusions, lending the impression of chocolate-covered berries. Odious Cellars, who actually unfortunately is no longer in business, brewed a beer called Rubied Perspective. It was a sour ale aged on Balaton and Montmorency cherries and Ceylon cinnamon and aged in wine barrels for 12 months. It was funky and fruity in equal measure, with notes of dill, earth, and sourdough layered over the warmth of the cinnamon and the cherry meat itself, with a bone-dry body and medium-high sourness. Pairing a beer like this with a chili bar can be a lot of fun, something like Manawa's Ghost Pepper 60% dark milk. The triangle of heat, acidity, and fruit in the pairing is similar to the effect of mango with tahini, albeit warmer and deeper from the cherries and cinnamon. The prickles of ghost pepper heat shine through the warm cherry notes like rubies in the dark. Let's look at a wild card pairing here, something that kind of doesn't fit these other categories. There's a curious example that blurs some of the already loose lines we've drawn above. It's a barrel-aged, mixed fermentation sour, but it's assertively fruited and moderately sweet. Upland Prem is a barrel-aged sour brewed with cardamom and plums, and it's a spectacular exploration of flavor. It balances tart and sweet throughout the sip, with layers of icebox plums and candied plum tinted with gin-like prickles from the cardamom. It's a very cocktail-like beer, like a brighter but also somehow cooler twist on a dark and stormy, with the fruit and spice playing off each other. With a complex beer, it's best to offer simple pleasures from a chocolate to pair with it. I went with Map's Bilberry Soup Bar. Yep, I still have bits and pieces hanging around from a couple years back when this came out, made with bilberries, which are European blueberries, sourdough crumbs, and cinnamon. The pairing is both rich and gentle, with notes of blueberry and sweet pickled beets forming the foundation, accented with cinnamon, cardamom, and clove, but all laid back and inviting. A question that comes up when pairing any beer style with chocolate, to single origin or not to single origin. Single origin dark chocolate is the spiritual backbone of craft chocolate, but its variability from origin to origin and maker to maker and even batch to batch can make pairing guidance difficult. For this reason, I generally don't suggest single origin pairings when I'm giving style guidance. That said, individual bars can absolutely be found that will pair well with particular fruited sour ales. In my experience, lower percentage dark single origin bars with a moderate to high fruity acidity can sometimes work with long-aged sour ales brewed with cherries and fruits that have a touch of savoriness or earthy spice to them. Let me know what pairings you discover between fruited sour ales and craft chocolate. And if you want to learn more about the unique fermentation processes of these beers, you can check out both a bonus episode and blog post on beer fermentation. I'll link to those in the show notes. There is tons more beer and chocolate pairing advice on beantobarstool.com that you can check out. And of course, you can order my book, Pairing Beer and Chocolate, from the shop on beantobarstool.com or from amazon.com. Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this bonus episode of Bean to Barstool.